Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi, Christina.
Hi.
I appreciate you talking to me. I am curious for you guys, what's it like to have this aspect of your childhood forever immortalized? Can you enjoy going back and watching it, or does it just get too strange to watch it?
I don't watch it that often. So every couple of years, it's kind of fun to go back and relive this event. And as Julie says, it's kind of like watching a home movie. We were all 12, turned 13 during the film. So I can remember almost every day, on the set, what was happening, when we were filming. So brings back a lot of memories, but they're all, for the most part, they're all positive, really good memories, Christina.
It was, for me, 12 weeks of my life that is now out there forever for everybody to see. But as Pete says, I remember the thing, the little tiffs that we might have had amongst each other, I was feeling a little bit grumpy that day. And, I can see that little smirk on my face. I know what was going on. That's not acting, So it's just funny. It's just funny to see that home movie, hear my voice, see how I was. I've got kids now. That's kind of extraordinary. It's a legacy for them as well. See mummy growing up, and when my daughter was the same age, it's like, oh my goodness, she looks like me, or I look like her, or whatever it is. And then now I have a granddaughter, so it's the extraordinary kind of chain that goes on.
And of course, the other thing about it as a home film is that it has all of the advantages of a production, right? So whereas, of course, now everybody's taking pictures of everybody. So we've all got a lot of photos of each other. But at the time, unless your dad happened to be a Super 8 geek, you probably wouldn't have a movie in the first place. And if you did, it certainly wouldn't be on huge sound stages, well lit, well directed, with full costuming and all of the production elements. So in that sense, it's an advantage. Now, having said that, speaking for Julie and Michael and I, we weren't necessarily putting our best personality forward. But in any case, it's still nice to have it all preserved for posterity.
Michael, how about for you? Do you revisit it, or do you avoid watching it?
I run a little tax office in Munich, and we spend every Christmas, the last workday, together with my employees. And every 2 or 3 years, I show the Wonka movie, because the film is not famous in Germany, and my new employees have to know what the star their boss is.
Hey, Michael, I didn't know you did that. When are we coming to you for Christmas?
Yeah, come. We're drinking champagne, and you get very good food.
We'll be your star guests. We'll be very happy. We'll eat the bratwurst, and I'll have the beer, and we'll be fine.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, so obviously the most important question is, did you guys actually have access to candy on the set? I know that the chocolate river was water, but was there a set full of candy otherwise, or was there a surprising lack of candy on this set?
Sauerkraut were real, and the German donuts were real. Donuts were fantastic, and sauerkraut not so much.
I would say a surprising lack of candy, but pretty much everything that we ate was real. Everything else, like the gummy bear, the ear was edible, but the entire gummy bear was not. So there was not as much edible food on the set as you might think.
And also surprising, because we were in Germany, right next door to Switzerland, and all in there they make gorgeous chocolate, and yet they shipped Hershey bars to us from America, Almond Joys, Mounds, this sort of thing from America. So that was a bit of a crime against chocolate and humanity that they did that. But there were definitely things for us to eat, little gummy leaves and some marzipan things. I liked the gum, which wasn't gum. It was actually taffy it was the 3-course gum, which wasn't. It was a taffy, but it was very yummy. I liked that one.
I think that's really interesting, because in your memory as a child, you think of us going in this factory and eating everything. If you take the movie apart as an adult and look at it frame by frame or scene by scene, we don't eat anything because we're not supposed to. Yeah. So we were able to eat you know, some of us didn't. And we were able to eat. The only time we were invited to try everything was in the chocolate room. So that was 1 week of like, eat what you like. But then you only were able to eat what the props man gave you and what they decided. So there was a little bit of kind of competition to sweet talk the props man to give you the thing that you liked. You know, Paris got the gumballs from the tree, and Denise got the gummy bear, and I got that chocolate watermelon.
What are the memories that most stand out for you guys from working with Gene Wilder and being around him on set? Is there a moment that you shared with him during filming that most stands out for each of you guys?
My final scene with Gene, when Charlie gives back the everlasting gobstopper, is a scene that I'll remember. That was the most intimate scene between Charlie and Willy Wonka. And so it going back in my mind, that was a special day working with Gene, and kind of, you know, it brings, you know, it's the conclusion of the film. It brings the message home when Charlie gives back the everlasting gobstopper.
I enjoyed being his foil. I don't know which of us would have been the straight man, but we had a lot of encounters in the film where he was playing off of me. Things like when he took the hair out of my head at the bottom of the stairs in the chocolate room. Too many takes. Let's get that joke made. Or the time when Bud Easter's over, and he slaps his hand across my mouth. Or you know, I'm a trifle deaf in this. You know, there's several things that he uses me for as a way to sort of express his character. So it was fun to play against a master.
Yeah, such a kind man. I was just, as we were talking about this, and I'm trying to think of things that I've never thought of before. And obviously my big moment was my song, you know, singing I Want It Now. And, you know, in my mind, I can remember, you know, the pressure of, you know, the only other song that we'd had so far that we'd seen or we'd been part of was Gene's song, you know, Pure Imagination. And then we'd had the Oompa Loompa songs. I wasn't there when the Candy Man was done, or when Peter did this. So suddenly it's like, oh my gosh, this is my moment. And how nice Gene was at that time. You know, it was my 13th birthday. He was really kind of sweet, but I just remember him being really reassuring. And I do remember him saying to me, you know, are you okay now? Is everything okay for you? You know, it's a big deal to do a solo number in a movie when you're 12. And following Gene. You know? So yeah, I just remember that. And I've got some pictures that actually just only surfaced recently of him kind of just standing back and watching. I'm thinking, oh, that was quite nice that he just kind of went, over to you. Very generous.
Well, I just remember making an interview with Gene. We were sitting on the staircase, and Gene doesn't speak English, and I doesn't speak German, and I don't speak English, and the newspaper girl doesn't speak English at all. So it was really funny, and he was very gentle to me. He made the best out of the situation, and he was very kind.
What's it like for you guys to see not only that there was a remake done a few years back with Johnny Depp in the role, then now there's going to be a new movie that focuses on a young Willy Wonka when he met the Oompa Loompas. What is that like for you, knowing it's still sort of all connected to something that you guys were a part of, and that it's lasted this long?
I think it's extraordinary, and it's great. There's room for all of us, you know, and it kind of keeps the interest going. What I like, and that nobody can take away, we were the first.
Agreed. You know, it's not just those specific things. I mean, certainly there was a Broadway show. Peter, I think you mentioned there's an opera. I hadn't heard that one. There's an opera.
Yes.
Of Willy Wonka or of Charlie?
Of Willy Wonka. Yep.
No kidding. Okay, I didn't know that. But there's always side door stuff. There's, you know, American Idol has got golden tickets, and you'll see a Simpson thing or a Family Guy thing. I mean, you're Collider, you're pop culture people, so you know what I'm talking about. It's constant. There's which ad campaign is now using Candy Man? I think it's AT&T, but there's always something happening, and that's a good thing. You know, we all have very positive associations with the film, so we welcome more and more. David Heyman is of Harry Potter ilk, and Timothy Chalamet. That's, he's a class act. So I'm hopeful about the next one.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys talking to me. I mean, it's always lovely when art inspires art, because then it means it affected people in some way. So thank you.
Exactly.
I appreciate you talking to me about the film. It's always been a favorite of mine. So thank you guys.
Very good. Thank you
very much.